This is Rick from Popcornography, and this is 6 reasons why I love Letterboxd. Now, before we jump straight into the video, I best describe what it is if you don't know already. Letterboxd is a app/website for film lovers, basically. As soon as you watch a film, you can register what you've watched. You can add a little review, add a few stars, and you can follow friends. It's basically Facebook for films, and I absolutely adore it. And I'm going to explain exactly why. Number 1, the diary. So, like I just quickly mentioned, as soon as you watch a film, you jump on your app, you put in the film's name, and then you can select, I've watched this film. So let's go for example. So tonight I'm going to watch A Tree of Life. Never seen it before, hoping it's good. Here we go. So straight away I can see that my friends do quite like it. 4-star, 5-star, 4.5, 5. So that gets me pretty excited. It's because of this app that I've discovered this film. So, and as soon as I've watched it, I will I could just hit watch if I wanted to, and that'll say I've watched it. It's got rid of my watch list, but it's fine. I'll add it again. Or I can review it. Now, this is different depending on the where you're doing it from. So on a website, you'd hit specify date, and it'll set it as today's date. If you did watch it yesterday and forgot to record it, you can choose the date. You can hit that if you've watched it before. I won't have. You can add a review, and you can put in your star rating. You can add little tags as well. I usually put in some of the main actors, Brad Pitt, for example. Put in your little review, or you can hit like, or you don't have to do any of them. You just can say that you've seen it, and then what that'll do is add it to your diary and say you've watched it. And that's basically it. Once you've done that, it will go into your profile. It'll show on your recent activity, your review, if you've wrote a review, and your star rating. Number 2 is lists. So from here, go to lists, believe it or not, and this will bring up. You create these totally. So I've got my film collection, which all the films that I own, as soon as I get a new one, I'll add it to this, and it's just a way. It's like my modern day DVD collection, basically. For people who are quite anal like me, where I used to have my DVDs in alphabetical order, this is kind of like the digital version of doing it. I also make ranked lists. So as 2020 goes through, any 2020 film I watch, I'll add it to here in order of how much I enjoyed it. So as you can see, I'll just turn this off because that's faded watches films. I've obviously watched them all. 1917 is currently my favourite film of the year, followed by Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is an excellent French film. Highly recommend. Parasite is the most popular film on this site at the moment, I believe, and for good reason. It's a fantastic movie. And at the end of each year, for my Popcornography, I tend to put up a ranked list of films from the year. And rather than sit down for hours and try and work out what I've watched and, put them into some kind of order, because I've done this throughout the year, as I watch films, it's already done for me. And I can go, well, there we go. There's my list straight away. And just write a little bit of guff and boom. I also do it for ranked certain directors, M. Night Shyamalan, Quentin Tarantino. You get the idea. So lists are great. I also get asked a lot, what should I watch tonight? And I've got a list there of films that some of my favourite films. Here we go. Where are we? Favourite films of all time. I can just share that. Even people who haven't got the app, just give them the link and they can look through these films. And I'll be like, if you haven't seen any of these, if there's someone there you haven't seen, get on it. There you go. You're welcome. Hunt for the Wilder People. Brilliant film. Number 3, watch lists. Now this feature is a godsend. How many times do people go, you need to watch that? And I'm like, oh yeah, I will. And then after 5 minutes after that conversation, that's gone. You're never going to watch that film. Now, I'll whack out my phone, search the film, and click add to watch list. And it goes into here. And if I'm ever wondering what to watch, I'm sat thinking, how people do this. You can sit for hours trying to pick a film, longer than the film itself. I've always got something to watch. I've got all these like films here, and I'm like, oh, I could give that one a go. No, I'm in the mood for that type of thing, you know, whatever. So it's a really good little feature. So for example, I want to watch, I don't know, The Fly. Go here, bish, and then just hit the watch list, and it works exactly the same on an app on your phone, which majority of people are going to use, to be fair, I think. Number 4, friends. So I follow a lot of my actual real life friends, and it's good. I can jump on, and any film that I choose, go onto here, and it'll show you what my friends think of that film. Chris, you're wrong. It's one of the greatest films ever made. By far one of the best 90s films. But you know, I'll let you off. It's also go on, and say for example I'm going around my friend's house. We do a film night, okay, and we do it most weeks. And we like to watch films that neither of us have seen. So if I'm thinking, oh, maybe watch Demolition Man, I'll go on here, see that he's seen it. I'm like, right. But if he's not there, or look, it's, you know, it could be on their watch list. It also shows you their watch list, I think. But there's nothing here at the moment. On their watch list, usually it'll say on here. Activity. So activity is kind of linked to friends. So on the night before I go to bed, I'll go on the activity feed, and it's basically a Facebook feed of people's activity watching films. So it cuts out all the, like, you know, pictures of babies and people breaking up and telling people how to live your life. This is just films, and it's a breath of fresh air. Get away from all that nonsense. And I can go through and see what my friends have been watching in time order as well. And I can see there BRWC gave Mulan 2.5 stars, not keen. But then you can see everything. You can see films that they've added to their watch list. And I have discovered so many films. I just can't stress enough how many films I have watched that have been incredible because of this app. I'll see a friend who I know has got a similar style of film that they like, or, you know, we've got very similar taste. They give it a 5-star, and I'm like, oh, never heard of that. Click into it, add it to my watch list, done. And honestly, there's been some incredible films. You can also comment on people's things on here as well, as you would on Facebook on a status about cheese and things. I did Days and Confused. So yeah, you get the idea. Activity. And number 6 is by far my favourite element of this website, this app, this feature, my favourite feature. And it is something you have to pay for. It's very cheap. It's a one-off payment for the year. I think I paid a tenner. But the amount of joy it's given me for this little film nerd it's just well worth it. It's one of the best tenors I've ever spent in my life. It's stats. And it tells you everything. It tells you how many films you've watched. So, for example, 2020, I've watched 217 films. I've reviewed 196 of them. I've created 13 lists. I've commented on 40 things. 417 hours I've spent this year watching films. So it can be terrifying as well if you do watch a lot of films. It'll show me my top films of the year, followed by what films I've watched in each week from that year, which I just find really interesting. Some people might not. Some people are like, oh, I don't care about that. Then fine, whatever. Average a week for 24.1 a month, and 5.9 per week, which has dropped recently because I started to get a bit more of a life since things started opening up after Rona. How many films I've watched per day? Weekends are kicking ass at the moment. My most watched films of this year, the last film, my first film of the year. Pie chart, everyone loves a pie chart of me 2020 releases or older, and as nothing's coming out this year, it's oldest winning that one. Rewatches and watches, reviewed, not reviewed. You get the idea. This is my rating spread. So 40 films this year, I've given 3 stars, followed by 36, 3.5 on. So you can see how much of a good year you've had. This shows how many films I've added to my watch list and how many I've watched from my watch list. That feature has meant I have watched 108 films that I probably would have missed if it weren't for this app. So thank you, Letterboxd. Stars, Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman's been in 9 films I've watched this year, followed by Gary Oldman, Tom Hanks. It's just quite interesting stats. I'm watching through Richard's filmography at the moment, so he's creeping up. Further down, we've got my most liked review and most liked list. Highest average film, lowest average film. That, by the way, is absolute dribble. Luckily, I watched it in like a Netflix party, so we were talking and laughing about it while it was on. If I'd watched it on my own, I'd have ripped my eyeballs out. It was like 50 Shades of Grey, the worst acting and the most just surreal story. It's just don't do it. This is my list of films I've watched. So every single film I've watched this year. And the world map, which I don't find that interesting because it's always going to be United States for me. But some people who like to, spice it up and watch some obscure film from Nicaragua, then you can do that. Highest rated films you're yet to see. This can also be a handy feature, but at the minute I think it's just showing like documentaries, because I've watched pretty much all the big films of this year. I try to anyway, and as there isn't many at the moment, there's not much on. I've actually seen that, but I tend to only put my films down on here, not the TV shows. And then we can go into all time. So this is where you want to, if you want to scare yourself shitless and see how many hours you've spent watching films, this is where to do it. I've watched 1,299 films, and that equals up to 2,499 hours. That's 2,499 hours I could have spent at the gym, working on a six-pack or exploring the world, but instead I sat on a sofa. This breaks it down to films I've watched per year, and as you can see, the 2020s, what do you call it, the 2010s are winning, because this is when I really started to get into my movies and it started to take over my life a little bit. Highest rated from each decade, automatically put in there from my reviews. And as we go down, this bit is very interesting. List progress. So you've got your IMDb top 250. I've watched 49% of them. Letterboxd top 250, 24% of them. Box Office Mojo of all time, 100. I've watched 93% of them. So if we come into here, I'll fade films that I've seen. I've seen all them. Now, if you quite like little challenges and checklists and stuff, then this is quite interesting. So these are the films I haven't seen in the top 100. And to be fair, Harry Potter, I'm working through the marathon at the minute, so they'll be ticked off. Wolf Warrior, no idea what that is. And I will never be watching Twilight anytime soon, so I don't think this will ever be completed. But you never know, if I've got down to just them two films, I might knock them out. Just say I've watched every film in the top 100. More importantly, IMDb's top 250 and Letterboxd's top 250. I know a lot of friends and a lot of people who like to work through this. I've seen it many times. This is a great way of doing it because it's dead easy to see which ones you need to do. Look at that, clear as anything, jumping right out off the page. Spirited Away, I've heard, is very good. I need to give that a go. Charlie Chaplin films, Casablanca. I know I should have watched that by now. But yeah, I do quite like that for completionists. If you wanted to work through something, then it's a good little thing to do. Addition to that, you've got completed collections, so trilogies, the Avengers collection, Back to the Future, Bad Boys, they all get put in there as soon as you've watched them all. Now, I don't think at the minute there's a way of seeing what there is to watch. I'd like that for somebody who likes a little. I'll be like, oh, quite fun. I'll watch that trilogy and tick that off and add to this. They may be working on that. There might be a way of doing it now since I last looked, but I'm not sure. I'll have to do some research. Most watched. To be fair, Jurassic Park would be a million miles in front of all these if it had been doing this from day one, from the day I was born. But as it stands, since 2018, The Avengers, Bohemian Rhapsody, Jurassic Park are my top films, most watched. Again, this is breaks it down. 43 films with Samuel L. Jackson in, because he's in every single movie ever made. Tom Cruise follows up, and with Morgan Freeman third. And just really interesting stats for people who like this kind of stuff. That is by far my favourite feature on here. But yeah, there they are 6 of the main reasons I love this app. The social aspect, the way of tracking everything. So I hope this has kind of highlighted some of the reasons why You should be on this app if you do love your movies. If you're not interested, then you've made it all the way to the end of this video, then I mean that's odd. But if you do download it or sign up to it, feel free to follow me, Popcornography. If you want to follow me anywhere other than Letterboxd, you'll find me on Twitter at popcorn_media. I'm also on Facebook at Popcornography. Please, if you do have the app already, comment below and let me know what your favourite feature is and why. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. And this is the first one I've actually made in years. So, you know, if you like it, then yeah, I might make some more. I'll have a little think of other bits and bobs. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the couch. Don't know why I said on the couch. That could be a new slogan, couldn't it? I'll see you on the couch. See you on the sofa. See you in the cinema. See you in the theatre if you're American. Turn us on is me actual slogan. Anyway, I'm dribbling on. I'm going to go. Goodbye. See you later. Ciao.